DuckZone503 back on this thing. He was a guest back in August. We go way back to 3 months ago, and now we got him back on again. We have an exhilarating matchup. I mean, the matchup of the weekend, hands down, with Oregon USC. We're going to break it down and then talk about Oregon's very intriguing playoff scenario right now. So, Dominiqk, it's great to have you on.
Oh, yeah, man. Thank you for having me again, man. It's a pleasure coming on this show. I always love coming on this show and, giving my take. I used to have a podcast. If you guys search DuckZone503, that's my page, social media. We're really big on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, a lot of social media. So if you guys want to go check out my Duck content, I also cover a lot of Big Ten content as well. It's a lot of what I do. Give my hot takes as well, and I throw in a little comedy as well. I'm always fun to talk some trash. You might see me in the comments sometimes talking my thing, but hey, it's all in good faith, and I love college football. That's why I like to do it, man. So hey, appreciate you having me on. I'm really excited for this matchup. Classic Pac-12 matchup, right? Going back to the West Coast. I mean, this is the fight for the West Coast here. USC dominated. Yeah, everybody knows how USC is, man. And then Oregon, ever since, that speed offense, I always like to point to that 2009 game where we really kind of, took over. I feel like, in my opinion, I mean, ever since that game, Oregon's 8-3 against USC. Things have kind of changed. USC's kind of storming back, though. They got the number 1 recruiting class coming in next year. They're having an impressive year. I mean, if they knock off Oregon here, watch out. They could sneak into the playoff as well. Nobody kind of expected that. So, yeah, I'm ready to get into it, man.
USC, they're slowly but surely becoming one of the most intriguing programs in college football, because a lot of us, and I'll hold myself accountable for this, a lot of us in the offseason, we're not that high on the Trojans. I know I was pretty down thinking they'd go 7-5 or 8-4. And you look at the roster, you look at the situation with Maeva, where he was last year, how could he progress? My hopes are in very high, and I'd seen what they'd done with Lincoln Riley these past couple of years, and I didn't love the optics going into this season, but week in and week out, they seem to just keep gaining momentum, and this is an inflection point for USC. Absolutely. If they go into Austin and beat Oregon, which is something they have struggled to do the last couple of matchups there, that is going to speak volumes for USC and the trajectory that they're on. But nonetheless, you look at this, and Oregon, you wouldn't think so. But being, a 10-win team already, looking possibly 11-1 in the eyes here. You wouldn't think that, or forgive me, 9 wins. You wouldn't think that this would be a do or die game in the age of the 12-team playoff. Yeah. But it is, because Oregon's situation as far as the CFP goes gets interesting if they lose to USC. So, or it may not seem that way going into this game, but Oregon's backs are against the wall. And with a Dan Lanning coach team, you can always expect the best. And I stand on this. I don't think that we've seen the best football out of Oregon yet this year. I don't think that we've truly seen Oregon's best. I think we've seen shades of it, but for a complete game, I don't think we've seen that yet. So maybe that happens this Saturday. But Dominiqk, what are your thoughts going into it?
Yeah, I mean, this is exciting, man. I mean, yeah, like you said, I think Oregon, we kind of expected them to be here in the college football playoff race, but the fact that USC is kind of coming back and getting themselves in position, it adds that much more excitement to this matchup. I thought USC personally was going to be a little bit beat up. I didn't think they're going to be, as physical as they are. They're still, in my opinion, they still can get upgraded up front. I don't think that's their strong suit, but I still think they definitely took a step forward there. And I think that was the big thing last year, is they got really pushed around. There's still, work to be done against Notre Dame. They definitely got pushed around big time. So in certain matchups, you can kind of see weaknesses still shine there for a USC team, but they're definitely upgrading where they need to be. They got 2 big time wide receivers that I feel like can give some problems. You've seen Indiana come with 2 good wide receivers and a good quarterback. It's really, to be honest, as a Duck fan, if you look at college football as a whole, Indiana's really one of the offenses that we played that are really a top echelon pass team. I mean, you kind of got Rutgers that got shut down as well. So I like that from the Ducks. But when they went against Indiana, they were able to make some plays on our corners. Now, Oregon does come into this game with the #1 passing defense in the country, #3 in yards per game. So they're really doing really good things on the defensive end. I mean, I would match up Oregon's defense against almost anybody in the country and have confidence in that. It's kind of the offense that's been hurting Oregon when it comes into it. They've just been inconsistent. And I think in our preview, if some of you guys have watched it back in August, I kind of called this out in the beginning. I mean, you got a young quarterback, you got young wide receivers. We lost Evan Stewart to begin the year. So you kind of expected like inconsistency, but you have the talent. And when the talent clicks, you've seen it. Oregon can put up over 40, over 50 points per game on any given night. So I feel like this Duck team, we're coming into this game especially, it's really all on the offense. Can it click? And you're dealing with injuries as well. We don't know if DeCorian Moore is going to be available. We don't know if Evan Stewart's going to be available. He hasn't been available all year, but there's been whispers he might come back this game. Mm-hmm. There's nothing official out there yet. So, I mean, it's waiting to be seen. I seen Kenyon Sadiq came back and played really excellent. I mean, 8 catches for almost 100 yards, I think, last game. So he did really well last game. So, I mean, he looks fully healthy. Our offensive line was a little banged up, but I mean, Oregon has been battling through it and getting wins in the rain. Man, we have 2 monsoon games, one in Iowa, one against Wisconsin. And I feel like that's where that #1 defense, pass defense, can come in for Oregon a little bit because we played in some tough conditions. We kind of helped that stat. But at the same time, I mean, you got Brandon Finney, one of the best corners, and he's a freshman, true freshman. I mean, you guys look at Brandon Finney out there at PFF grades around the 80s, leading freshman for PFF. That guy is absolutely going to be a superstar. He's already getting draft buzz for 2028. And then you got Dylan Thieneman, who got the game-winning pick in Penn State, one of the best safeties back there. So the defense in the back end has definitely upgraded for Oregon, and it's shown in big games too against Penn State and stuff like that. Where it did kind of get exposed a little bit against Indiana. I mean, it's not like Fernando Mendoza totally killed him. He only threw for 215. But at the same time, they were able to make plays on third down and stuff like that and take advantage of certain matchups, especially with Elijah Surratt. I mean, that guy was eating against any corner he was matched up against. So when you bring in 2 wide receivers that, in my opinion, might even be better than the Indiana core over there, I mean, this might be second to Ohio State's wide receiver core. I mean, these guys are really good. It gives me a little bit of a worry, but I think this is going to be a matchups of styles. I mean, USC comes into this thing and they want to spread it out. They want to pass the ball and make explosive plays happen. Well, I feel like if Oregon, what they can do, if they can drag them into the mud, make this a physical type game and run the ball for 5 yards and control the clock, keep that USC offense on the sideline, I think that's the recipe for a win here for Oregon, because Oregon, they can run the ball. They're #1 in running the ball in the Big Ten. They ran for over 260 against Iowa. And nobody's seen that coming. So they're proving even against good defenses, they can run this ball. And they got 2 elite backs, De'Aaron Hill, Jordan Davison. You can even throw in Noah Whittington in there. They got 3 backs that can really just come in and do their thing. Jalen Lamar, you can throw him in there, but he's hurt right now. But anyways, getting back to my point, I just think that's the key to the game is, can you stop explosive plays for USC? USC, excuse me. And then can you stop their explosive plays? And then for Oregon, can you run the ball effectively, keep and control the tempo of the game? Because you look at USC's losses, like against Notre Dame in specific. I mean, they just pounded them. You know, they just were out physical in that game, and they really shut things down for USC. But I think Oregon has a good chance. USC has not beaten Oregon since 2011. In that game, they were 14.5-point underdogs. So they came in with 2 like really good wide receivers. Matt Barkley was their quarterback at that time. Marquise Lee. There was another guy, I'm forgetting his name, but this is kind of the same deja vu. You know, you got a good quarterback, you got 2 wide receivers coming in. You're the underdog coming into Autzen. I hope it's not the same as last time in 2011, but Oregon's been successful. I mean, it's been a while. They haven't played a lot in Autzen, so it's not like the most impressive stat, because it's not like they play every year. But I mean, it's been tough for them to come in here and win. But yeah, I think this is going to be a battle of styles, and I'm excited for it. And by the way, forgot to show off the shirt here, man. For all you USC fans, if you're watching, at least my mascot ain't a condom, man. Custom made USC condom. I got it right here. You're going to need this Saturday for your BTA. I'm just letting you know.
I love it. Public service announcement.
Public service announcement for that one, man.
I love that. That's really clever. Any way to throw shade at them USC fans? I think we talked about that a little bit back
Hey, it's
in.
a rivalry, man. It's the West Coast rivalry. Like we're battling for the West Coast. It's all good faith, though. You know what I mean?
Again, true Pac-12. I mean, this
Yeah.
it doesn't get more authentic than this. I love it. And going back to your keys to the game on Saturday, I think that running the ball is going to be Oregon's best friend.
Yeah.
I think that time possession is going to be huge, making this a physical game, getting the guys up front cooking, disrupting what USC wants to do on the offensive side of the ball. I know that they have been pass heavy, and I agree with what you said about comparing them to Indiana, because I don't think it's a hot take at all to say that they have a better receiving core than Indiana. They may have a better team overall than Indiana. They're just starting to cook at the right time. I feel like USC, Jacoby Lane, Mekhi Lemon. I mean, that's
their
up there
offense
with
is
one of their
explosive.
best receiving duos.
Yeah, I think Indiana's defense is definitely way better than USC's though. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But I mean their receiving core, if you want to compare, I mean they're both really good. But I think Mekhi Lemon's just insane. He's going to be a tough guard. He's reminds me almost like Jeremiah Smith, to be honest. So he's a big dude, at the slot, especially he plays slot. And then you got Jacoby Lane out there. That's a really big dude out on the outside. So it's going to be a challenge for the DBs. But that's what I'm so excited for, too, that matchup, the wide receivers against Oregon's DBs, because Oregon has been so impressive against guarding against the pass. I mean, given they've only went against a couple teams who are top ranking in passing for passing offenses. And we played against them monsoons, but literally Oregon's #1 in pass defense. So, I mean, if Oregon plays well against this USC defense, if they hold like Maava, like Mendoza didn't go off. Like, to be honest with you, we didn't lose the game because Mendoza was just picking us apart.
No.
We lost the game because our offense wasn't consistent. You know what I mean? We came in the second half and we didn't score nothing. You know what I mean? So we had kicking issues that game, special teams issues. I mean, Indiana, if you just play cleanly, you play complete ball game. I mean, we were in that game. It's a 10-point difference, but we were in that game. So I'm excited to see where they kind of upgraded. If we can hold USC to under like 250, like around there, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? But if they start passing the ball like crazy, a big thing last year was the secondary. That was the weakness for Oregon. So I was so excited to see Oregon step up there. And Oregon's whole defense, I mean, even up front, they've been really good. Like I said, I'll match up Oregon's defense against anybody and be comfortable with it. It's just, is the offense going to show up? They've been really inconsistent at times. Dante Moore, reading coverages. He's just a young quarterback. He got Indiana got in his head and stuff like that. So can USC's defense do that? And me personally, I have never seen USC win a game for them. If they're winning games, it's because Jay Maava is throwing explosive passes and stuff like that. They're better defensively. I'll give them that. They're way better than when they came in here in 2023. I think they fired their defensive coordinator. What was his name again? I forgot his name, but they fired him in like 2023. They came in here and had no chance. But they upgraded for sure. I'm excited to see another guy to talk about is Bear Alexander, because he came from USC and, he gave up on that team. And he was kind of, touted as a guy who might ruin your locker room. Well, he's came into Oregon and just enhanced his body. They made him eat right. They put him through the right regimen. And this guy is huge. And it was that Penn State game at Penn State where he just shined, man. He was not allowing anything up the middle. I mean, Penn State, the biggest worry for us was that two running back, going into it, running all over us. And, Oregon really sustained the run. And a big part of that was because Big Bear Alexander in that middle, man, he's been doing some things, and he's got his NFL draft grade going up now since he came to Oregon. So I think this is a huge game personally for him, and I can't wait to see how he does.
No, I mean, it's that interior O-line was fantastic up in Penn State as far as preventing pressure from coming to y'all. And I've got a question for you here pertaining to Dante Moore. When I was watching that Iowa game a few weeks ago, the end of that thing, and that was a battle of attrition, right? Don't get me wrong, that was a battle of attrition. It was cold, it was rainy, it sucked just being out there. It's tough to get anything going offensively. It's just ground and pound.
Yeah.
That final drive that Dante Moore put on, I feel like it's one of those drives that could ignite something within the offense overall, because I know it was Minnesota, but that offense looked great against the Golden Gophers last
Oh, yeah.
Friday. And so that's my question to you is do you think that drive might have awoken something?
Yeah, most definitely. I think that last throw, I mean, and the thing about the Iowa game, it was crazy, is he was not in rhythm. I think he missed his last 5 or 6 passes before that too. And then he just comes out that final drive, goes 5 for 7, and that last pass was like money. There's no way you can defend that. If a quarterback puts it in the money spot, there's nothing you could do as a defender. I mean, and great route and great catch by Malik Benson as well on that one. But it really did feel like it, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a good call. I haven't really paid attention to that, but that's a good take that you had there, because it really does feel like that awoken something in Dante Moore, because last game he was on fire, set the record 27 to 30, set the record. I think he had 90% completion percentage. So 27 for 30. I think the last record, I think it was like 19 for 22 with Mariota. I think he had the record before that. And then to do 30 passes and go, because usually you see guys do that and they like only throw for like 20, 25 passes. He threw 30 passes and was on the money. And when Dante Moore is confident, when he's clicking, you see why he was a 5-star in high school. You see why that comes out. But if you can get in Dante Moore's head, if you can confuse him, it's not a pretty look. And I think that's all with becoming a starting quarterback. I mean, the dude, he's only started, he started for UCLA, but not the whole season, and he comes here. This is a full season starting now, gets big time competition. Indiana's got some dudes, man, defensively. Like, it shocks everybody. But when you speak about Indiana, like, they really do got a really good defense, man, up front. Those linebackers are insane. They were stuffing everything, and I keep watching them. They're really good, man. It wasn't like a fluke game where one guy just had one good game all of a sudden. Nah, man. Aiden Fisher, those guys at Indiana, they stuff people up. They confuse people up front. They did some things that really shocked me as a fan. I was like, wow, this is crazy, coming into Autzen and doing that. But hey, heads up to them. We can get him back though. Just like Ohio State and Oregon last year, you seen how that worked out. If you just click at the right moment, I feel like we can do it. Honestly, this is supposed to be a rebuild year for Oregon. Like, we have a new offense. There's a lot of guys who left that senior-led team were number 1 all year. A lot of guys left, okay, and some guys came back though, like Bryce Betcher and stuff. But for this team to be in this spot and to have a chance, if Oregon has one of the most talented rosters in the country, so if things click at the right time, which cough is the offense. I'm telling you, the defense, I'll match up against anybody. I'll keep saying this all video. The offense, if they can score over 30, watch out, because it's gonna be crazy. I just think the injuries kind of throw some inconsistencies out there, and then also they were trying to find rotation. They were doing at the beginning of the season, they were throwing like 5 running backs out there, trying to find who was running back 1. You know what I mean? So it was just all about finding themselves. And then once they find their guys, that's when they can implement new plays, new formations, stuff like that, and really open things up. So Will Stein's one of the best out there media wise. In my personal opinion, he's inconsistent to me. I mean, I'm not a big fan of him on 3rd and longs. I know exactly what he's going to do every time, just a screen pass almost every time. I mean, he impressed me last game against Minnesota, though. I mean, I really liked when he decided to call play action, how he did things. But he's a good offensive coordinator. But just kind of like the offensive players, man. It's just his inconsistency in play calling. It's like sometimes you scratch your head at some things, especially on 3rd and longs. It's like, why aren't you being more aggressive? That's my only take on him. But no, man, I'm excited for it all, man. It's coming down to the wire. If Oregon loses this game, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't think we make the playoffs. I'm just gonna be honest, because you look at it. There's only so many teams that can get in. You already got Indiana, Ohio State, and then if you look at it, Michigan's kind of hanging in there too. What if they beat Ohio State? Then if you lose this game, then you're automatically out. If they beat Ohio State, right? And then also think about this. Let's say Ohio State takes care of business, beats Michigan, but then you're looking at the 2 lost teams are USC and Oregon. Well, who are you putting in? The team that won the game, right? So, I mean, that's just how I look at it. I think that's how they're going to break it down. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of graphics out there and a lot of like formulas that it looks like even if Oregon dropped it, according to a lot of people, it looks like they still make it. But in my personal opinion, I'm looking at it like, especially with Oklahoma beating Alabama, too. Now Oklahoma's in it too. Because if you guys would beat Oklahoma, they're out. You know what I mean? That we don't have to worry about them anymore. That's why I was pulling for Alabama, you know, a lot, because I'm like, damn, if Oklahoma, I wish they were out of it, you know. But now they're in the thick of it. Notre Dame's in the thick of it, right? So it's just gonna be a mess. And I don't know if Oregon drops this game at home. People are already talking. I don't know if you guys seen some posts, but people are already looking at the resume against like BYU. It's like, come on, man. We're talking about BYU. Now, look, BYU is a respectable team. But, bro, they play in a different conference that's not the same as like an SEC or Big Ten, man. It's just not the same, bro. You can't – and the strength of record, strength of schedule speaks different. But, bro, there's something about going out on Penn State. Everybody wants to take the Penn State game away from Oregon and all that. And I ain't even going to get into that because we can talk about that later. Let's just keep talking about USC. Sorry, man. I don't want to keep –
No. I do want to bring up here. So, like when we break down the season here, I do want to bring up that Penn State game. Because I think that there's a lot of different opinions on that. A lot of opinions that I really don't agree with on that game. I think I'll align with your thought process. But as far as this game in particular here, I think last time I checked, Oregon's a 9.5-point favorite. I know the line has been moving a lot according to FanDuel.
It started at 7.5 and now it's at 9.5.
And I'm sure that something has to do with the health of Oregon's receivers, because I know that there's question marks about both Oregon Moore and Gary Bryant.
Yeah. Dan Lanning doesn't say anything. So as of now, I mean, they're out as of now. There hasn't been anything of saying like Gregoire Moore is coming back. There's speculation, of course, because he's been out a few weeks. You know, you expect maybe these guys to bounce back. I hope, you know, we definitely need them for this last stretch here. I'd love to, you know, get these guys back in game shape. You know, if you're sitting out, you know how it is. So in this stretch, you need them. So I'm thinking Dan and that staff's trying to do everything to get him back. But me personally, I haven't seen anything official of these guys coming back officially yet.
So that definitely makes it a little bit cloudy for me as far. I don't have. I'm picking Oregon. I'll let the cat out of the bag. I'm picking Oregon to win.
Yeah.
But my confidence isn't sky
if they
high.
don't play. Yeah, I mean, definitely. You
just
don't have
because
your
of the health
start, but we
of
could
this.
talk about some of the guys Oregon has, right? Like, who's going to step up? I mean, they got Jeremiah McClellan. I don't know if you've seen his catch last game against Minnesota, but he made an insane one-legged catch. Kenyon Sadiq looks healthy, right? So he's going to be a threat. And then to be honest with you, I'm going to be honest, like, I don't think Oregon needs to go out and throw for over 200 yards, to be honest. I think the biggest thing, like going back to the start of the video, I think Oregon needs to rush for over 250.
Yeah.
I think they can do it. I think they could do it very easily, too, to be honest. Looking at the film, looking up front, I think Oregon, especially the left side with Emmanuel Pregnon, speaking about former USC players, he played at USC as well, our left guard. And then, you know, you got Poncho at center, and then you got Isaiah World. I mean, and then you could throw in Kenyon Sadiq on a block. I mean, and I also seen Oregon go into some like 3 tight end look. Like we had Kenyon Sadiq, Jamari Johnson, who was a transfer from Louisville, Roger Salapaga, who was a 4-star tight end. That trio right there, I mean, you can go block, you can go play action, you can go down the field because all 3 of those guys can catch and make a play. All those 3 of those guys can block. I mean, dude, I like that, what I seen with Minnesota. I think that was a little thing from Will Stein that I think can really work against USC. Because, look, if you're out here running the ball 5-6 yards a carry, once you hit that play action, Jeremiah McClellan, Cooper Perry is another guy. Malik Benson's healthy. I mean, these guys can definitely make some plays, man. I'm not too worried, even if Gregoire Moore and Evan Stewart don't play, to be honest. I would be more worried if like an offensive lineman got hurt or something like that, because then we're looking at the matchup. Because Oregon, in my opinion, if I'm Will Stein, I'm looking at the playbook like we're going to be running the ball like 60-40. Like we're going to be pounding it. And unless they show me they can stop it, we're just going to run it. You know what I mean? So, you know, the playmakers, yeah, we're going to need them, but like gameplay wise, how I think the game's gonna go, it's not the most important thing on the menu.
I totally agree. Given your strategy, like we discussed, just pounding the rock on Saturday, De'Aaron Hill, Noah Whittington, like I really think that's gonna be your key to success. And I think if y'all do that well, like you said, get around 250 yards, on the grounds.
We're gonna see a Jordan Davison show, man. Jordan Davison,
and
that
Jordan
freshman,
Davison. I didn't
he's
mention
huge.
him.
He's the biggest running back on the team. So you get him running behind 3 tight ends and our offensive line, man. The USC don't want that. 4 quarters? Come on, man.
No.
USC don't want to play that.
That's different than anything that they've seen all year. I mean, I know they had their hands full with Notre Dame's rushing attack, but
yeah.
This one with Oregon's is something that's not talked about enough, and I think that they leverage it the right way.
I think another thing too, looking into like the Oregon roster, like I think I said this in the preview back in August when we were kind of previewing this game back in August. But one thing about this game is it's never going to be slept on as long as Oregon keeps recruiting very well in Southern Cal. I mean, a majority of our roster is from like USC area. You know what I mean? Like they grew up right around that college. The majority of our roster, I mean, Oregon recruits nationally. We recruit everywhere, but majority of our roster, just because the state of Oregon doesn't have a lot of high school 5 stars, 4 stars. You know, we have a few. Don't get me wrong. Oregon high school, they do their thing. But as far as like California, they're just a more populated state. They got a lot more athletes. You know, there's diamonds in the rough out there. So that's where Oregon goes to recruit a lot. So there's that kind of rivalry with the coaches as well. And then with the players, a lot of these guys know each other. They grew up with each other. So you're going to have that going on as well on the field. And it's just going to make up. And then you got College Game Day coming into town. Oregon lost last time they came here. I'm sure Dan Lanning, he took his shirt off last time. And
I remember that.
And then they lost. Yeah. So coming in, Dan, let's not take the shirt off till after the game. If we want, let's do it after the game. Before the game, it gives too many memes. It gives you a viral moment if you lose. You know what I mean? So let's just chill. Let's go on the game day show. Let's do our thing. But once we win, take the shirt off and then let's show the tattoo off, all that. But no, man. No, I think College Game Day adds another layer to this, and then. Think about this. It's the holiday weekend, right? It's going to be like, Thanksgiving time. Maybe people from Oregon and Cal coming into town. So I love it, man. It's going to be amped up. It's going to be busy. It's going to be hopping. And this game has all the intention. It's basically a playoff game, man, because you're fighting for the playoff. I honestly believe if we drop this game, I do not see Oregon making it in. There's already people saying we don't have no ranked wins. Washington losing to Wisconsin hurt us. I always dubs down. I always want Washington to lose. I thought it was hilarious, but at the same time, they were ranked. And if they kept staying ranked and we go there and win, that's another ranked win on the road for Oregon, right there. They just went to Iowa and won. But people don't want to give their flowers for Penn State, right? And Penn State had Drew Aller healthy. They had their coach. They had the whole team motivated for that game. I mean, Oregon, if anything, should get credit for breaking that team spirit and just ruining that team and leaving it for the dead, because that's what they did. I'm just being honest. And Oregon, it was a tough fight game, but Penn State thought they had that. I mean, the crowd was going wild. They were scoring like crazy. I thought they had it. I was sitting in the stands like, wow, we just let this thing go. All of a sudden, man, we scored one play, and then the next play, it's a pick. Game over. Like, imagine losing like that. That I felt so bad for the fans walking out. It was tough, man. Like, people were mad over there. Of course, Oregon was happy, but man, that's tough. And then the whole narrative before that was you couldn't win a big game. So of course they go downhill. You know what I mean? Of course that's gonna happen if they fire their coach within 2 games. I honestly think Penn State was way too early on that. They should have kept James Franklin. Who are they going to get now that's better than James Franklin? To be honest with you, we can joke about how he can't win a big game, but he made Penn State where they are at now. The whole reason they were talking about as national champions is because what James Franklin built up. I hate that they let him go. To be honest, man, like Virginia Tech, that's a perfect place for him because there's not those expectations. So the whole going back to it though, like people don't want to give Oregon their flowers, bro. You got to give them credit, man. That was a whiteout, 110,000 people. Like this was the game of the century for them. People were saying like, if we win this, blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like Penn State was like wanting to get a big win, and they didn't. You know what I mean? That broke them. And how are you gonna blame Oregon? Oh, that's not a big win now because Penn State sucks. Like, bro, come on, man. Like Penn State was undefeated. They were amped up. They had their starting quarterback. Like, how long have they been playing with their backup since Drew Aller got injured? Like, that was like weeks ago, right? So it's not the same Penn State team for one, and then for two, like that was one of the hugest games probably this year, bro. Like, it was like huge. It was marketed that way. Game day came to town. It was huge. It was tough to find parking, all that. Man.
Well, you just think about, so there's 2 games that happened that afternoon, where a coach subsequently got fired.
Yeah.
There's Oregon, Penn State, and there was LSU, Ole Miss.
Oh yeah.
Now, I'm using that comparison to establish a point here, because it's easy right now where we are in November to look at that and say, oh well, Penn State just imploded. So what does that really mean? Oh, LSU just disintegrated in late October, fired Brian Kelly. So like, wahoo, Ole Miss beat them, and they're at home. So I would expect it. That's something we can say today, in hindsight. But an exercise I like to do, I always like to place myself back on that day. I want to say September 27th. What was the conversation going into it? All right. That was number 3 against number 6, taking place in State College with a whiteout crowd. That was, I believe it was a top 10 matchup between LSU and Ole Miss. And LSU was undefeated to that point. They had a victory over Clemson, which was still viewed as somewhat valuable at that point. Like there are different perceptions of these teams. We know who they are now, but that was not the perception. That's not who they were. Teams are in a constant evolving form, and we're going to talk about that with Oregon at some point too, because Oregon is no exception this year. But at that point, Penn State was fully together. They were fully bought in on pursuing a national championship. That was the expectation. And there was a Penn State staffer that came out a few days after that game and said, if we drop this Oregon game early, or if we start the season off on the wrong foot, if we don't reach our expectations, the floor is going to fall in. Staffer came out and said that, and the floor fell in.
Yeah.
And so you can't blame Oregon for that. You can credit Oregon for going in there and destroying that team's aura, but you can't pin that game against them.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one thing that I never understood. Like, people like to argue this. This is one big argument in college football. It's like, I never understood this. So, like, Oregon, what was Penn State ranked when they played Oregon? Like, what, number 2? Right?
They were 3.
Number 3, right? They were number 3,
6,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So Penn State, number 3 in the country. Well, now that they're not number 3, Oregon doesn't have any more top 25 wins. Like, I don't understand that argument. Like, Oregon, Penn State was number 3. We got the win when they were number 3. That's a top 25, in my opinion. Because look at this. Think about this. Think at the end of the season. This makes no sense, right? Like, I think Tennessee, what are they, like number 20? And then who plays Tennessee at the end of the season? I forgot who it was.
Vandy.
So look, Vandy, right? They're in need of a top 25 win. They're trying to make the playoffs, right? They're right there. If Vandy beats Tennessee, number 20, they don't have a top 25 win if they beat Tennessee. That's the argument of the other side, which I think is ridiculous. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, because Vandy, who's number 14, beats number 20 Tennessee, the next week later when the rankings come out, they're going to look at the book. Oh, well, Tennessee dropped out of the rankings because Vanderbilt beat them, right? Vanderbilt doesn't have a top 25 win. Do you see, like, where I'm coming from? I'm like, wait, what?
Well,
but the reason they're not top 25 is because the team that beat them is – I don't get it. You know,
that was a real conversation about Tennessee, because you got to think about the fact that team was within seconds of beating Georgia on week 3.
Right.
Okay. Things didn't go their way. Alabama ended up handling Tennessee from a score standpoint, but as an Alabama fan, they had me on the edge. I'm just speaking like I'm just this close. They didn't turn the ball over. They beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm just using Tennessee for an example. I'm just using like this as an example because the rankings, right? You look at the rankings right now. Like, I hate this idea of like, because Oregon, they do the same thing to Oregon. Like, Oregon beat Penn State, number 3 in the country at that time, and they say because Penn State's not ranked anymore, they say, oh, Oregon doesn't have no ranked wins or blah 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 blah. We do now because of Iowa, but you get my point, right? They're trying to say like Penn State, oh, that's not a quality win. I get it because they're where they're at now. But when they played, they were number 3 in the country and undefeated. So what I'm trying to say is, like, what's the difference between like now and then like ranking? Like that's a top 25 win in the moment. Just because they're at their like because they played 8 teams later doesn't mean that wasn't a top 25 win. Is what I'm trying to argue. Because look, this is why I was using Tennessee. Like, if Vandy beats Tennessee, they need to make an argument. We have a top 25 win. We beat a top 25 team. They're not going to, even if Vandy beats Tennessee, they're not going to get that credit because of the way college football fans or the media, I don't know who makes the rules, but they need to change that. Like that's my whole argument here. It's like, because now, like, Vandy, let's say they beat Tennessee, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to look next week at the resume for Vandy, and they're going to go, oh, they don't have a top 25 team. Makes absolute no sense to me, because the team, Vandy, that beat Tennessee, they're the whole reason why Tennessee's not ranked now. So that credit, it should show on the resume. Like, when they show resumes, it should show they beat Tennessee number 20. It should not show they don't have no ranked wins, because it makes no sense to me. Do you see do you get my argument?
It's such I get it, and it's such a weird data point to use because it evolves as the season goes on. And it's like, who are they at the time? Because the teams are different versions of themselves at different times of the year. Especially, and this year is the best example of that.
Yeah, and people want to argue like
losing a head coach is massive.
Yeah, exactly. And the other side of the coin, they want to argue, like, people want to argue, well, the reason why it doesn't count is because look where they're at now. But my whole argument is like, okay, but we play the games when they're played. It doesn't matter what that team does later. Like, this is the team they were. This is the ranking they were at that time. It should count as a ranked win, you know? And that's just how I feel. Like, if you play a team and they're ranked and you beat them, that should go on your resume as that they were ranked at this point. I get, you can go down you can say, okay, that you know, you can say it dilutes the win, but for these teams to like show their resume and be like, oh, these are all the teams, like, they're not ranked now, like, because, like, bro, think about it, SEC, Big Ten, we play elite competition. Like, of course teams aren't going to be ranked when they used to be ranked. Like, it's a tough league, you know what I mean? So resume wise, like, we need to fix this, man.
Well, and that's what frustrates me too, when you're in a conference like the SEC and the Big Ten, and it is just more challenging week in and week out to get wins because of the level of competition that you're playing. And then you get a team like Notre Dame. I just made a video about them earlier. You get a team like Notre Dame whistling down the block of, oh, look at us. We're the hottest team in college football right now. La-di-da.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you manually constructed your schedule for that to happen. That's not the reality for everybody. And so the CFP evaluates them at the same level that they evaluate SEC and Big Ten teams. And that really bothers me because the flow of their schedule is not the same.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think needs to change, that metric of ranked wins, evaluating certain teams in the same pool as others, which I don't think is really right. And then taking into account strength of schedule. Like, I that was something that this committee was saying that they were really going to they're going to place emphasis on.
Right.
And I think they did a good job of it earlier on, but right now it's slipping, and it's all recency too, Dominic. That's why Oregon does not want to lose this weekend, because if you lose to USC, it's a November loss, and they're going to knock you down 4 spots, just like that. You'll drop below Alabama. Hell, you may drop below Miami. And so if you will drop below BYU, you will drop below Texas, or you'll drop below Utah. Not my mind.
As an Oregon fan, I mean, as an Oregon fan, the goal for us, like, at least in my mind, the goal, like, for this year was get in the playoffs and win a playoff game, because we made the playoffs last year. As you know, we obviously didn't win it. So if Oregon can get in and win one and get that experience of playoff experience and winning a playoff game, I think that's going to carry big time, especially with Dante Moore, DeCorian Moore, everybody kind of coming back next year. That's going to be huge if we can do that. But if you don't beat USC, you don't even make the playoff. I mean, that's going to be a huge disappointment for an Oregon fan. I'm just saying. So I'm not talking like I love Dan Lanning. I don't doubt that he can turn it around if we were to drop this. But I think this is huge for both teams. I mean, not even Oregon, but USC too. I mean, they're trying to prove that they can play in the Big Ten. I think both these teams are going to be even better next year with the recruiting classes they're bringing in. So, and the players that are going to be coming back. So I'm excited. This is a big time statement win for the West Coast. A big time statement win to get in the playoff. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. I cannot wait.
So that the intensity is going to be maximum on Saturday, and
this is what college football is all about. Yeah, this is what college football is all about, man.
Oh yeah, the urgency of this game speaks volumes. I just personally think like there's every year at the college football playoff where there's a team that you kind of feel like got robbed, and you could poke holes in it every year, right? Like last year, I personally would put South Carolina in at that time over SMU.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There was arguments about Florida State being in over Alabama. I was more so in agreement with Georgia getting in because they got penalized for losing in the SEC championship. With it, and you can go on the list years on end. If Oregon is 10-2 with losses to Indiana and USC, and they miss the playoffs, especially if USC gets in as well, I don't know what to say to that.
Well, yeah, it's just tough because you got what really hurt is Oklahoma beating Alabama. I mean, that really hurt because that was one team that could have been out of the way. But now that you kind of have all these SEC teams stacked in there, you got Indiana, Ohio State at the top, and then you got to fit in a G5 school, a Big 12 school, maybe two of them, right? Maybe make it, who knows? But I mean, it's tough because you got Washington losing too. They're not even ranked anymore. So that kind of loses some hype out of the Washington game. I was hoping they would, remain, unbeatable, even though I hate saying that, coming out of my mouth. But I was hoping they would at least until that game, because then you would have to play USC and Washington for playoff spots, because if Washington was a 2-loss team, it would be the same scenario. So that would have been super intense to go out there. I'm going to that one too. That's going to be fun. But man, awesome. Yeah. My dad lives out in Washington land, so I'm able to kind of stay with him, grab a ticket and stuff. But yeah, no, man, that kind of hurts, man. With Oklahoma winning and then Washington losing and being unranked, it kind of just I feel like kind of dismantled some things if you drop a game here, because people are already talking about Oregon in a way where we don't have a resume, our schedule's not good and stuff like that, which I'll say, like, as an Oregon fan, it's not the hardest schedule in the world this year. We didn't have to play Michigan. We didn't have to play Ohio State. But we had to play Indiana, and we dropped that one. And then Penn State was supposed to be, obviously a national championship type team. But, that kind of didn't turn out well. Best win so far, honestly, looks like Iowa. Iowa was our win, and that was a heck of a game to go in there and do that. I mean, honestly, I predicted Oregon to lose that game going into it. A lot of fans were on me about that, but I just thought, the way their defense were up front, I thought they could expose some things in their run game and their offensive line, but Oregon did their thing. They really impressed me, and it showed me that Oregon can take the gloves off and fight for a win too. They can get in there and get muddy, get dirty if they need to, and I like that. I like seeing that. It proved me that Oregon can win in multiple ways. We can get in a shootout, we can, go over the top, or we can get down and dirty in the mud. So I like that. I like to see that.
There's a proposition that I have here that what you were saying kind of sparked it. I'm going to make a short form video about it at some point, but I just wanted to hear what you have to say about it. So you have this weekend right here. It's week 13, right? Like you're saying, Thanksgiving weekends. A lot of teams find themselves in a spot where they may need some help when it comes.
Uh-oh, Brian. You're frozen there, buddy. Is it going to come back? Oh.
Who have cupcakes this weekend. Playing Eastern Illinois. You got
Brian, you were all frozen
Chattanooga.
for like 15 seconds. I don't even know what you're saying, man. Sorry.
Oh, can you hear me now? That was really weird.
Yeah, I like froze for like 15 seconds. You weren't saying anything, and then you came back. So sorry. What were we saying, man?
That was so bizarre. Okay,
It's all good.
So there's teams that have cupcake games, right?
Right.
I mean, Alabama, Eastern Illinois. There's Chattanooga, Austin P, whatever. In my opinion, I say fuck all that. I think that this weekend, the weekend before Thanksgiving, the weekend before rivalry weekend, there's so many teams that need help with their resume. And then there's also fans that want to see matchups. There's so many matchups that we want to see. That you mentioned a few of them. Oregon, Ohio State, right? Oregon, Michigan, Indiana, Alabama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas A&M. Why don't we leave this slate for this weekend just untouched? No schedule. 2 weeks before you make the schedule. So like right around Veterans Day time, you make the schedule for this weekend. Find out where you're going. And you just have banger after banger after banger. Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas A&M, Ohio State, Oregon. And then we find out. And I think that we also need a weekend for an SEC Big Ten showdown to supplement that argument as well. But those are just a few things I thought of.
Right. Yeah, if we want to get into Big Ten SEC arguments, I got a question for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Why the hell are you guys playing Chattanooga and Norfolk State while we got to play USC, man? Y'all got to stop playing 8 damn conference games. Come on, man, SEC fans. Step it up.
Hey.
You can't be the best conference if you're playing Chattanooga in November. I told you about this in August.
Hey. We played 5 ranked teams this year, and they are still ranked. They're all still ranked.
ESPN loves you guys. They love to rank you very high. I know.
No. That ain't no ESPN there. Those are 5 ranked teams that Oregon hasn't seen anything like that this year. I will say that, but it's also, 2 things are inexcusable: losing to Oklahoma.
You guys do play tough.
3 turnovers. And playing Eastern Illinois this weekend. I've said that when I was there because when I was at Alabama, I worked for Learfield, and so I had to work every single game in the press box.
Yeah, man.
I had to stay the whole thing for the Chattanooga game. I didn't like that. I would much rather seen us play Texas A&M or South Carolina or Kentucky or something, but no, I have to sit there and watch us play Austin P.
Yeah, man,
come on,
it's ridiculous. Like, okay, look, man, you guys do play a lot of good opponents, but look, everybody can make an argument. Oh, we play a tough schedule too. I mean, ACC fans will tell you how they play a tough schedule too. But look, let me tell you, proof's in the pudding. You guys, by the ranked teams, you guys have a better strength of record, that most definitely. There's no doubt about that. But all I gotta say is like move if you're gonna like do this, move it to the beginning of the season. Something, I don't know. Why are we doing this in November is the biggest question. And like, second of all, I just want to make a point here. Like, this is not good for nobody. Like, the only thing it's good for is the team that gets their ass kicked. They're gonna go ahead and get a nice check at the end of the game. That's the only thing it does. And it like you said, you're in the press box. You had to sit through the whole game. Look at all the SEC stadiums this week. They're gonna be empty, man. Nobody's going to these games, man. They're not selling no tickets to these games. It's just a giant waste of time. So if you guys can, play some conference games during this week, I would love to see that. And while you guys have a good teams, a lot of ranked teams in the SEC, I'll give you guys that. You guys have to play 9 conference games like everybody else. I can't see you guys, like, there's no reason for it. I don't see where there's more negatives to this than pros is my point. Like, no, I'm not bashing you guys.
I'm with you.
But at the same time, I just feel like it's just a giant, like, come on, man. What are you guys doing? Playing some kindergartners out there.
I want more. I agree with you, but more than a 9 conference game schedule. I want to keep it at 8, and I want to replace the 9 with a Big Ten team. because
that would be cool, right?
like I say, the Big Ten
like
talk
that.
a lot, and so I want to see them.
It-
And I look, as an Alabama fan, I want to go up to Columbus, Ohio at this time.
Yeah, I think
want
if you do
because
that
people
though,
talk about the cold and this and that. I want to go up there and prove it. Are we made of glass in a game like that, or are we about it?
I like that idea. I mean, if they did do like a Big Ten SEC matchup, I think you don't do it in November though, because that's basically going to be kind of for the playoffs. I think you should do it in like maybe like week 1. You don't have that SEC Big Ten opening day where the different schools play each other and stuff like that. That would be pretty cool, because then you go from week 1 of doing that and replacing that, and then you have your 3 non-con, and then you could do 8 conference games. That would be, I would agree with that. That would be awesome, man. But I don't want to do it in November, because November, if you play those big games, those are all the teams in the SEC and Big Ten are going to be in playoff spots. You don't want just mayhem going on right before the playoff. I think
give me the mayhem.
Yeah, you could do that, but then it's like, we should have seen that in the playoff. You know what I mean? Well, I want to see that. That's just my take. I would love to see that week 1. If that could happen week 1, where we had like a contract deal, these Big Ten SEC schools play each other every week 1 and stuff. That'd be pretty cool, man. I would like that.
Honestly, I like week 2 for it, because
week 2, okay.
Week 1, I just want a bunch of like random openers like we had, like LSU Clemson this year. Like I want a bunch of that kind of stuff, and then. Because week 2 it was kind of a letdown this year. I mean, a couple upsets, but it's kind of a letdown. And then week 3 was straight gas this year.
Yeah.
A&M, Notre Dame, and Tennessee, Georgia, and Clemson, Georgia Tech. But week 2 is kind of that spot where we all get hyped up for week 1, and then week 2 is sometimes can be a
it goes down.
But
then you get an extra week too to prepare for those big games.
The mashup. Or I would almost want to rotate it. 1 year be week 2, 1 year be week 13.
That'd be cool.
Because of the climate. Because I want to go up to the cold in November to prove that argument. And then I want Big Ten teams to come up and play in, conditions like you're in Nam or something. It's 93 degrees and humid. Like, I want to see Michigan playing that. So I want to see both sides of the coin.
Yeah, that would be fun, man. That would be fun.
But I made a video about it. I think back in February, probably before you were following me or heard of me. I created a bunch of like hypothetical matchups that would take place in this, and I think I actually had Alabama playing Oregon, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, dude, that's what the seating is right now. Could you believe that? If that happened, you better come out to Eugene, baby. I got a spot for you.
No, I will look. That would be a crazy game for me, because number one, they never play each other. There's no history between the teams. And number 2, I don't know if I ever told you this, Oregon was my first love before Alabama.
Oh, wow. Okay, we got some breaking news going on.
When I was
True Duck.
when I was like 8, from 8 to around 13, I liked Oregon. Because of the uniforms and because of, Michael James and Marcus Mariota and Ken John Barner and all that.
Dude, that was the years I wanted to see Oregon go play Alabama, because Alabama was going through their whole dynasty, going win national championship, and Oregon was always right there. I wanted to see that game. That would have been legendary to see those Chip Kelly versus Nick Saban teams, man. That was the ultimate dream for me as a kid, man. That would have been dope, man. I remember saying it as a kid. We want Bama. To be honest, bro. Just because of how talented you guys had, how much 5 stars. Like, Oregon didn't start getting 5 stars till like 2018, 2019. We started landing a couple. Now we're getting 5 stars like clockwork because of NIL. But before that, man, like, Oregon was winning with 3-star guys, man. Like, Oregon with the all those Kenyon Barner, Darren Thomas, DeAnthony was actually, I think he was a 5-star back then. I think we snuck him from USC. Yeah. But LaMichael and Kenyon, Josh Huff, like, bro, all those guys, John Boyette, like, all these guys were 3 stars, man. Like, they were not big time recruits. We got a couple 4 stars here and there. We're lucky to land a couple 4 stars back then. And I think just because the talent you guys had, it probably would have went in your guys' favor, to be honest. But I would have loved just to see it, the different styles, the different coaching. It would have been cool.
Well, to your credit, I think that y'all would have challenged us a lot more than Notre Dame did in that national championship that year.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Oh man, don't even bring that up, man. Dude, we were we lost to Stanford. Stanford always had us that year, and then it was the same year though. I think it was that year. Maybe it was a different year, but I remember it was us in Kansas State, like all year. Kansas State, Oregon, we were undefeated, and then we lost the same week. Kansas State lost to Baylor. We lost to Stanford.
Yes.
And what a time to have a 12-team playoff if we could, man. That would have been
that year.
Cool.
Well, we would have had to have seen Georgia again, and man, we were lucky to go off the field against Georgia in that SEC championship game, and we would have just had to see them again. Probably could have seen LSU again. Just a bunch of matchups.
Notre Dame, I knew they were trash, man. That year
you would have had Johnny Manziel in that thing too. That would have been because they just barely missed that year too. That would have been electric. Colin Klein and Kansas State. I mean.
We ended up blowing them out too. That's what the crazy part is. It's like if we both would have went to the Natty, the score was 35-17 in the Fiesta Bowl. We beat Kansas State. We opened the game up with a return kick from D'Anthony Thomas. All the Kansas State fans just were like, when they seen D'Anthony Thomas run down the sideline, 99 yards, right at the kickoff. Yeah, man, that's one thing I could never sleep on because it's like, just imagine, bro, if Kansas State and Oregon, they were number 1 and 2. There was no doubt in the BCS. Those were the teams, or they play each other in the Fiesta Bowl. They ended up playing each other. Like, wow, what could have been? This could have been a national championship, not a Fiesta Bowl. It could have been a Natty. That one's tough.
That's just as good as that Natty that never was back in 2007. That was West Virginia and Missouri. Just completely random. Oregon and Kansas State. Like that's just and two very fun teams to play with on NCAA 13 too. I will say.
Oh, yeah. That was a good year, man. I wish that we could go back in time and make a 12-team playoff for them. That would be cool.
I kind of want to play that on the game and just see how it turns out. The 12-team. I mean, it's so fascinating to think about those scenarios back then. But it's funny how these teams have evolved throughout the years. I mean. Kansas State's kind of in and out, but I feel like Oregon and Alabama are still kind of in the same spot. I mean, Alabama's not dominant like they used to be, but it's still a top tier program. It's still a top 10 team.
Yeah. Dude, Alabama, Oregon, if they came into town, first of all, the tickets would probably be over $500 just because how big the brands are, both fields. But dude, the game would be intense because like you mentioned, no history behind it. Oregon and Alabama, I feel like both their fan bases have always wanted to see each other in a game. Yeah. And then also it's like I feel like Oregon, Alabama, to be honest with you, like they're at the same level. They're kind of like we're not national championship favorites. Nobody's talking about Oregon, Alabama win the national championship. Well, I take that back. Josh Pate has actually picked you guys to win the national championship, and he's not gone back on it. So there is somebody who I know, but most people are picking like Ohio State, Indiana, maybe A&M. I've seen a couple times. Most people in the media, right? But I mean, Oregon and Alabama. What do you know about them? They got some of the best talent in the country, and at any given night, if they play their best, they will beat you. So, and you throw in that Kalen DeBoer and Dan Lanning, that whole situation. I ain't gonna speak on that, but we already know. Just Kalen DeBoer has got the best of Dan Lanning a couple times. So that has got another headline that will be into that game. So if things hold up like that, that's a crazy matchup. As an Oregon fan, I'd rather not play Alabama in the first round, but if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do, baby. Let's throw it.
I'm like less spooked out about that matchup than I am Auburn, which sounds weird. Like I have more confidence about Alabama beating Oregon than I do Alabama going into. I almost want to say the barn. That's basketball. Going into Jordan Hare here in a few weeks, just because spooky shit happens there. I mean, it'll be cold. It'll be rainy, but there's also
Oregon,
one of our guys on your team, Malik Benson too.
Yeah. Oregon will be a 4.5 point favorite though.
I did see that.
The Oregon would be a 4.5 point favorite in the line if it came out today. So
I thought that was interesting, but it was funny how. There's 3 different games on there, and they're over. I think Oklahoma was 3.5 point favorites at home against Notre Dame, and then there was the Texas Tech.
Oh yeah, 21.5.
Like minus 12.5. I was like,
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I would take Alabama plus the points if that was the line. If I was a betting man and that was for real, I would take Alabama plus the points because although I think that Oregon could get the win, I just think that Alabama would definitely, if we're not beating Alabama by more than 3, it's going to be one of those games that's going to come down to the last play, in my opinion. I just think Alabama, Oregon are so evenly matched, kind of like almost the same team, man. Like they got a good defense. Offenses are kind of inconsistent at points, but like if they click, I like the teams, man. That would be a great matchup for sure. And then going back to the G5, Texas Tech, 21.5 points. Dude, like the G5 needs their own playoff. I get we want to involve them for parity and see what it's like, but dude, let's be real. The G5 needs their own tournament. Even the best G5 teams not winning a national championship, no way. I don't ever see it happening. So let's just be real with ourselves. This is like if the MLB had a playoff and they bring in a AAA team to come into the playoff. It's like, what are we doing here, bro? Like, let's not invite a whole different league in. Let's play the 12 best teams, and look, let's ride it out. G5, if they want, just like the basketball, how they have an NIT tournament, let's make a little G5 tournament for the best G5 teams. They can have their own national championship.
That's crazy. That's literally a second era video that you brought up in this show. Big Ten SEC challenge, and then I made that one last year about there being a G5 championship because, and maybe I'm just a nerd, but I watched the FCS championships. I've watched all of them. I'll watch William and Mary and James Madison on that afternoon of December 16th, or and I did the same thing because I had Maction. I was watching Action before we did the show tonight. We got Miami, Ohio, and Buffalo on tonight. Sprinkle some MAC teams in there, sprinkle some Sun Belt teams in there, some Conference USA, get some Western Kentucky, get Big Red going in that thing like that. I think it could be a really fun time, and I don't like the mix and match between G5s and Power 4 now, and I'm going to say that because I've got a poster right here. Hold on. Let me grab it. Straighten this out. People get very hung up on that. Okay.
Yeah,
people get very hung up on that. Like, oh well, G5 teams have done it in the past. It doesn't happen that often. Okay.
Yeah.
It feels like it happens more than it did because we remember those moments.
Right.
It doesn't happen often.
It's just, to me, man, it doesn't happen that often. I get the argument though, like you want to create parity, you want to give them a chance. You can never say never, but I just, man,
like
21.5 point playoff game. That's not fun. That's not interesting.
I mean, yeah, any given Saturday, I guess like once in a blue moon, you're gonna get even a TCU over Michigan. Once in a blue moon like that, and that's the only time we've seen an upset like that really happen in the college football playoff. Like I can't really think of any off the top of my head, and even if it's like March Madness, right? Even if somehow in some way the 12 pulls it off against the 5.
Right.
I can't see it happening.
They're not going in the second round and doing it though. Like,
they're going to advance, get their ass kicked.
Yeah.
And that's just another wasted game somewhere else. I want all the games to be optimized. I want everything. Maybe it's a high standard. I want everything to be like A&M and Notre Dame. Like I just want good games everywhere.
Speaking of going to seeding, man, Oregon's sitting right there at number 7. I really want Oregon to get that 5 seed. I don't think they get it, man, just because whoever loses is the conference game probably gonna get it. But if Oregon can get 5, that'd be awesome. If they can get 6, that'd be even better.
I want Alabama at number 5. That's exactly. We lost Oklahoma. I was like,
right.
Fuck Atlanta. I just want the 5 seed at this point.
Facts. Yeah, man. We'll see how it goes down. But I gotta get out of here, Brian. I gotta go watch my daughter now.
hey, like I said earlier, duty calls. That's one of my mantras. But it's always great having you on here. And
of course, man.
Who knows? I mean, here in a couple weeks, I'm most likely gonna have you back on again.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. Especially if things hold up. We got an Alabama-Oregon playoff matchup. Like it's looking like maybe.
That may be one of my biggest shows of all time on here.
Dude.
Shit, that one might we may have to rent a bar in Eugene out for that.
Yeah, bro. Like I'll have to find a way to get you out here for that.
I probably will. If that happens, I probably look out for that. I'll get the little microphone headsets and we'll talk shows in the bars up there.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, for sure, man. That's gonna be epic. But yeah, dude, we'll keep in touch, and I appreciate you for always having me. If anybody out there, like I said, wants to, check out my page or social medias, feel free to go at DuckZone503, DuckZone503. That's on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Most followed on Instagram, to be honest. If all you Instagram folk want to go on there. I used to have a podcast. If you guys want to check out any of my old work, I used to interview recruits for Oregon that are pretty much stars now. Interviewed a few of them like Devin Jackson, stuff like that. So go ahead and check out that. And then I also have some articles that I wrote for On3 a few years ago, if you guys want to see some of my articles as well. But yeah, as always, man, I appreciate you for having me on.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you coming on too, Dominiqk. Go follow DuckZone503. It's great content. It's always been pumped out. Very consistent. Great work that you're doing there, Dominiqk. So definitely give that a follow, y'all. He deserves it.
Oh yeah, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I got a couple other guys that helped me out with it. Shout out my guy Eric Bump. Shout out my dad Dan Peterson. Those guys help me out with it sometimes too. So shout out to those guys who aren't here today. But yeah, DuckZone503. It's a big brand for Oregon football updates. So if you're a big Oregon fan, it's number one place to go for sure. And then I also, if you're a Big Ten guy, maybe not an Oregon fan, but you like to talk Big Ten ball, get some other people's takes, what you think. I'm as real as I can be. I mean, I'm a big Oregon fan, but I always keep it real. I always keep it legit. I even had Oregon losing to Iowa as one of my picks this year. And a lot of people were in my comments about that, but well deserved because Oregon got the win. So I can, if I'm going to make a pick, I got to be ready for the heat. Right. So, but I appreciate everybody, man. Like I said, I try to keep it real as possible. I try to give genuine takes on what I think, and my takes are my own. So appreciate everybody. And more importantly, I appreciate Brian, man. He's awesome guy. Love his show. Love his takes. So please go ahead, give him a follow. If you're coming from my page and first time seeing him, please go ahead, give him a follow on his YouTube, a subscribe and like, because he talks about a bunch of different things, bunch of different topics, different things about college football that you guys will love.
Absolutely. I appreciate those kind words too, Dominiqk. Same to his. Go follow his page. And thank you for coming on here, Dominiqk. And thank you all for watching. Go Ducks.
Go Ducks, baby. Beat USC. Trash the condoms. Go Ducks, baby.
We'll catch y'all
Peace
later.
out, man.